It's 7 o'clock. Do you know where your Tesla is?
It is about 8 feet below me to my right.
Casey knows.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number. What are we now?
234.
Yes, 234.
Yeah, the 29th of December. This will be our last show of 2021. And mine is in my garage, Patrick, just so you're aware. And with that, we extend a warm welcome to everyone who's watching the show today. And we, of course, have our two regular co-hosts. We have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
I'm better now. I was super salty all weekend thanks to Tesla, but we'll get into that.
I'm glad you're better now for the show.
Yeah,
definitely. Don't want to.
Only mostly better. I still got some more I can add on.
Salty Casey on the show for sure.
No, that's why we kicked Russell off. We don't need that.
And that, of course, is Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the Portland area. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Hello out there, Tesla Nation. And I just want to say thanks to Mark for coming up with this whole let's do this Tesla focused show. And you're the backbone of the show. You're here every week. It allows me to flit in and out depending on what mood I'm in or what I have going on in my life. And I also want to thank Casey. I'm in a very thankful mood today, apparently. You are our IT guy, the technical brains behind this, making it all work, getting us all up here on the screen. The scroll at the bottom. It's a lot of work, and I appreciate all that you do. Thank you very much, both of you.
It's a pleasure.
Well,
do it for all of you.
That's wonderful. We thank you for that, and certainly thank both of you for joining us week after week. And let's get to it. Got a ton of news this week.
Let's
surprising.
get salty.
Yeah, let's get salty. Well, the number one story, of course, this whole week started basically on Christmas Eve. A large release happened with the new UI that went out along with the holiday update. A few different updates went out. So Casey, of course, could partake having FSD. He wasn't eliminated from the holiday update. And well, somewhat. You got some stuff.
It was delayed greatly.
So when did you get it? I got it Christmas Eve. Patrick, when did you get it?
So I still don't have it for my older X, but we did get it for the 3, and I think it was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So I got it
Casey,
yesterday
what's your
around lunchtime.
Ben?
Yeah,
Really?
yesterday around lunchtime. Well after Christmas.
Today at lunch.
No, yesterday at lunch.
Yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a few days delayed for you.
Yeah. This is even I think last year was a little late, but it wasn't like this. But your Model X is still MCU1, or did you go ahead and take the plunge to upgrade it?
MCU1, yeah.
Okay.
So most of it won't apply.
So yours is still from 2020 as far as the release.
Right. Oh, yes, I am. Actually, I'm running 2020.44, I think. So I have not gotten an
over a year.
All year. Yeah, it's been over a year. It's
I'm not that salty.
Yeah. Although it's fine. There's nothing in there that was particularly like, oh man, they need to fix whatever. The last upgrade was
waypoints
great, and waypoints would be nice, although I'm not really road tripping considering that we're in the middle of a pandemic. So
that part.
Yeah. Some friends said she's coming into town in January and was like, hey, let's go have dinner together. And I'm like, well, we'll see how Omicron's going at that time. I may or may not feel like leaving the house.
Right. And what the weather is, if I feel like eating outside or not.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Hey,
so hello, GT. Hello, Paul. Thanks for joining. Anyone out there, please send a note in the comments. Let us know you're there. So with this release, some released a little bit later than others. This, of course, was quite a lot of updates that went with this. So not only did everyone receive a new user interface, UI.
I like it. I like it on the legacy cars. We'll get into
Right.
legacy in a minute.
Right. So we've got certainly a new look. We've got a lot of the, I guess, the left and right swipes that we had seen with the older UI has disappeared. They've
Not for
gone
me.
into, well, okay, some.
Yeah,
and
it makes
eventually
sense.
they will go. I imagine.
Probably
Casey.
so.
Yeah.
Once they figure out how to program from one stack and like do modules, it's gone.
It's not. Yeah, the left and right swipe, unless you know there's a learning curve to that, right? There's
Yeah.
no obvious thing that says you should do that. So
Right.
it makes it difficult for new users, and I think that's what this upgrade is targeted at. Is not
Yeah.
people who've had the cars for years and know all the quirks, and are going to go and read blogs and talk to people in the community, but instead, it's for people who aren't familiar with Tesla and sit in and they just want it to be intuitive. So
Yeah,
I think that's what they're working towards.
Most of the swipes you won't discover if you're not a blog reader or nerd or whatever. You'll only discover them if you're trying to touch the buttons and you're running down the road and bump and it slides. Oh, that's neat.
Right.
That's not discoverable.
Right. It's not intuitive.
Nor is it
right.
safe.
That part.
Little things.
Yeah. But I did notice that with everything being put differently, reordered in different spots, it's obviously going to take us that have learned the current or the old interface. It's going to take us a while to figure out where things are. But I did a tip for everybody would be that try the voice control. If you're concerned as to where something is, try talking to the car and asking for it. Like, for example, last night I asked for give me 2 bacon strips on the driver's side. And boom, I had my heat set at medium. And
so I've got something for that, though. I spent about 15 minutes trying to find the passenger temperature controls. And then I tried the voice commands, and they just did what I was already doing, controlling the driver. And I did the scroll wheel, because on the Model X, that's an option. You can do the scroll wheel. And that just controlled everything. And I wanted the passenger side separately. You have to have somebody sitting in the passenger seat with their seatbelt on before you get any of those controls now.
Interesting.
It assumes there's nobody there and there's no point wasting energy.
Right.
I can see the logic behind that. It makes sense.
Right. But as soon as my wife sat in the seat, the controls appeared. I was like, oh my goodness, there it is. I've been looking for that. And then she left for work today, and it was gone. So I hope that's set right before she gets out.
Yeah. So
I don't know about you guys, but we got the first version of it on I think it was Christmas Eve, and then the next day we got an update with some bug fixes.
Oh.
And
maybe that's why I was late.
That could be. From what I understand was the new Lightshow, that for some people, when it was done, some of their lights wouldn't work. Like they'd put them into this off mode and they wouldn't come on at all, which is sort of a problem. That's a bit of an issue.
It's kind of like how the original Christmas show would like leave a door open, leave the windows like in random states.
Yes, I had on the Model X, the original show, dance, whatever, my passenger side mirror would fold in, and then I couldn't get it to fold out.
I get that sometimes, just a random mirror. So that reminds me, let me get to the saltiness already. You guys on the Model 3 can roll your windows up, and on the Model S and Model X, we've never been able to do that from the app. But now that we're talking about the malfunctions of the Model Xmas, the car rolls its own daggum windows up even then, and yet we still don't have the option to push the button to roll the windows up, and we're excluded from car wash mode because it won't roll the windows up, among other things. So let me continue the saltiness. So some of the stuff that we were excluded from, my car is a 2018 and a half Model X P100D. It has the exact same computer as the NFSE as a Model 3 of the same vintage, except that the Model 3 is water cooled and mine is air cooled, and then we both got the FSD computer upgrade. But yet I don't get blind spots and I don't get remote Sentry View. I can kind of understand the blind spot mode because you have to decide which screen it's going to go on. You have to decide how much you're going to make it grow. Okay, had to get it out on time. Can't do that. They didn't say yet. They said never. We're not going to do that. But so that's part I'm mad at. But if they had said later, I'd be like, yeah, fine, whatever. But the remote view, I have the same exact computer, the same exact phone app. There's no excuse for me not having remote view. It's the same system. Right. Come on, guys.
There's got to be something different. Otherwise,
Well,
they
they should say that instead of just being opaque. So your car is legacy, damn it.
That's the problem with Tesla PR, right? Is that
right, but like
there is no public relations.
They have so many customers who don't know what the squiggle means and your tire is low. But their percentage of people who know how a computer works is much higher than the percentage of people who are considered to be car people. So they should give you a real reason if there is no obvious.
They said
because your car is old.
Yeah, and having done
a launch Model 3 is just as old as my car with the exact same hardware, except the screen goes like this instead of like this.
Right, which just means more testing and more debugging and more problems.
You don't need the screen to use the app.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So to the network, they're the same car.
The problem is lack of engineers to be able to concentrate on these certain tasks.
Yeah.
Right. It's everything. Again, Tesla is really FSD constrained. They have a ton of engineers working on the software engineers working on FSD, and some of this other stuff. I am sure they were pressed to get the holiday release out.
It took them a whole year.
It had to get there. It had to be available come Christmas, right? So they had a hard stop date, even though they surpassed it in your case.
Yeah.
But
we promised them that second fire. It's been a year. We gotta get it out this year or else.
Yeah. Let's start now on 2022. Let's start today. But it's a lack of resources, I believe, or a lack of good resources, right?
Yeah.
You've got different teams that are working on things, and if you're and of course Tesla is laser focused in on FSD, and that's what they've been pushing for how long now? 2 years solid.
I'm glad they didn't give me the MCU1 treatment.
Yeah, so
they could have said that.
I think those things will come, Casey, but you're right. You're really at the back of the line when it comes to it, because there is some differences in what you have. Your system has different differences than what the mass majority of vehicles do.
But here's the thing that really got me is we've seen the price range that Model X ran for. Some people got a Model X that has a year model of 2021, but it's not a refresh because somehow they managed to get one that squeaked out of the factory, like it's built by hand or some crap. So they've had their car for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe 4 months, and they spend $180,000 as much as, and they get told that their car is old and not worth crap, and you don't get any new software.
I don't think they see your car as not worth crap. I would be surprised.
That's how the guy who got one was. I was like, oh man, I thought mine was annoying. Yours is much worse, dude. Because like he literally has had his car in his possession for you can measure it in weeks without getting over the year mark, and
and that's of course is why you watch programs like ours if you haven't bought your car yet, because you want to know what's going on and have an idea as to what policies are in play at Tesla and what would be the better thing to do. So we're contributing to information, which of course Tesla does not provide, either because they don't have the time or the employees to do so, or the want to do so. The priority is not there. So it is definitely something that Tesla could improve and should improve. But at this point,
they have no incentive.
It's especially when every car they have is sold 6 months out.
And then they have to send those resources, as Paul's saying. They have other things to concentrate on. Yeah. So talking to us is not one of them. Although they could give a little bit more to service. But I want to say that my service center has improved massively since they had another one open like 30 minutes down the road.
And for those of you listening to the podcast, Paul is a comment that was just shared on the screen.
Yeah, sorry.
So you don't think Casey's just crazy.
Not crazy, and I'm not referencing the Paul that you all may know. This Paul said FSD development can, should, and will be a top priority. And what's up, JT?
And hello, Anders.
Speaking of our podcast, those are all live now again, which was great. I was happy to see that in the Tesla. Look at that, the Tesla live. Look, I'm gonna click on it. Play some.
Yeah, for those of you who caught it when I unjammed it there, sorry. Like 3 months of podcasts all at once.
Yeah, so a couple other things we can highlight with the new UI. Tesla headlights.
Yes.
So with the holiday light show, if your car is of newer vintage, not like mine or Patrick's,
Right.
Right,
they've
so we're
got
talking-
the updated headlights that
Yeah.
actually digitally display letters.
Right.
And right now it's during the holiday, I guess not the light show. During
Yes.
the light show, it actually displays the word Tesla out of each light onto a surface that's close to the car. So
Right.
it's and the question is, well, we'll get to that later, but that's kind of impressive. We
Yeah,
did
it
see
is.
that.
We saw
did
that at
see that
Berlin.
in Berlin, right?
Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
were doing factory tours.
Right.
Also, that's legal now. Not to display Tesla while you're driving, but to actually use the Matrix headlights as part of the infrastructure bill that passed. We got approval to use Matrix headlights now, among
Yeah.
other things.
So I don't know if the listeners have seen these, but so it can selectively decide where to point the headlights. So if you have an oncoming car, it cannot blind them, which is a great thing. And yet you can still have really good visibility. So that's just awesome. It allows you to illuminate the road in front of you more and not blind oncoming cars.
And the reason that important safety feature was illegal was because they had to squeeze Mr. Tucker out of business, decades ago.
Yeah, it's amazing how many safety advances have had resistance by the automotive and government agencies. It's weird.
Yeah, if Chevy or Ford had come out with that first, we would still have the central Cyclops turning headlight, but no. They're the ones who brought us the one red bulb does everything in the back of the
car. So, hey, one other thing that this has that I think is really cool is they released a development kit for people to write their own
That's awesome.
light show and synchronize it to music. And not only that, so now you can do your own. People who do one can share it. Then you can download it if it's a song you like. And I think it's just meetups are going to be so much more fun now. And Mark, you said they need to get ready and start working on next year's. Well, now they've made that development kit that they can use themselves. Yeah, and they can make it part of a standard release. And if other people are uploading stuff to the GitHub under, common use
you
license,
pick them like the farts.
They could pick whichever ones they think are good, and that they get whatever licensing they need to the music, or if it's because they can't just give out music they don't have rights to, but you can do whatever you want if you are doing it in your own vehicle. So they could then just do things like that. That'll help them in the future be able to make these releases easier.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
and then
I can't wait for AC/DC Thunderstruck.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did get that everybody else got, but not everybody else, that's like few got, I got FSD Beta 10.8, and it is super smooth. It is still not robotaxi ready. It's still not enough that if you've never used autosteer, that I would say, oh yeah, go use it. But if you've used autosteer for a month, this thing is phenomenal. It stopped doing all the same annoyances that 10.5 and 10.6 brought into my life, and it's better at yellow lights. It's smoother at all of its operations, and it launches again. It's not a ludicrous launch, but it blasts through the 100 kilowatt barrier. It's about 150 to 200 kilowatts, depending on what it's trying to do. So it'll push you back in your seat, and it is comfortable.
Wow. Okay. Now, I didn't want to hear you complaining that you didn't get something when you've got this. So just shut up with your first world problem of I didn't get.
well, the only complaint about the stuff I didn't get was that there's no logical reason to not have it. The stuff like the smooth smart air suspension.
Again, logical to your mind. There is an issue. There has to be.
The remote app, there is no difference between my car and a Model 3 and the remote app. But on the suspension, I didn't get the new super comfortable suspension. But my car does have air ride, and it does feel smoother. I don't know if that's because suddenly all the roads around me have been cleaned up, or if they changed some of the parameters in there. It's not the same as the Raven cars, but it feels different and smoother, and I like it.
Okay,
cool.
So you see a bit of an improvement with 10.8 on the FSD beta front, and hopefully, again, those incremental steps will allow us to get to the end goal, which obviously is full self-driving.
Right, and when you said incremental, this one actually feels like a step up from 10.4, 10.3,
Great. Yeah, because often they're trying to reduce the number of disengagements per million miles. And that means they're going to be looking at not Casey's data set, but the larger data set. So something that's 2 steps forward in California might be a step backwards in the DC area.
Another thing that was alluded to earlier was the blind spot. So that is now available so that if you use your signal, and that's a big if, you have to use your signal and you have it enabled, what will happen is that the side camera will actually come on and show what's beside the car in the line of camera sight. And that will show up on the main screen. It's for you to have another check in your blind spot if you wish to use it. If you do not use your signal, nothing works. Everything is normal.
If you don't turn that feature on, you get what I have. You get these little mouse farts whenever you're about to collide with something. The car goes beep, 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 and it's almost useless. But the fact that you heard something, it's not because I'm in Joe mode, because I turned off Joe mode and tried running into somebody, and it still was a little mouse fart.
Not
recommended to run into somebody. I tried to make the car think I was running into somebody, and it did think so, and I still got the mouse farts. So they're not very audible, so don't rely on them. But it was nice the one time that it saved my bacon. I was the car wasn't moving over, the cameras weren't showing for whatever reason, and it was clear, but this guy was just camped at my blind spot. I'm always checking all my mirrors, but if you're in my blind spot for like 15 minutes, just pacing me, I'm going to lose track of you. And so I tried to move over, and the guy's like, "No, don't." And so, little hearing test, little beeps out of your corner, and then I was like, "Oh, somebody's there."
Something's there.
Yeah. I'm surprised
also,
that
of course,
there isn't
go ahead,
a red
Patrick.
flash or something that goes with it, because what if you're hard of hearing?
Legacy car. I won't get the red flash anyway. But hopefully at that point, if you have the display turned off and you do have a car that can show you the blind spot, they'll just make it bigger and show it anyway, even if you have it turned off. Like, hey, numbskull, there's something here.
Oh yeah, that would be handy. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent idea. Some sort of visual flash or something would alert the driver as well.
It does. It does on the mind of car display. It does highlight the obstacle in red if it's a car.
Yeah,
but hopefully you're looking out and not at the dash.
Now I realize that Tesla doesn't have this, but I think it was Honda in one of their examples of having camera side mirrors. I thought they had the best execution of it because they actually placed a little monitor where the mirror would be in the door panel. So you're still
Honda,
looking out of muscle memory out the window, except you're seeing the little display screen that's showing the side view mirror, which I thought was cool on both sides of the car.
Yeah, but, Honda, Audi, and then I think most of the Japanese cars, like Tesla in Japan, actually has auxiliary monitors over there because it's required by law.
I would suggest Tesla look into that for future. Obviously, it's not going to happen shortly, but I find that would be. Then again, maybe the muscle memory will change, just like I no longer look for the binnacle to see the speed of the car, because my speed for the last 3.5 years has now been over to the right-hand side. So who knows? Another topic of interest with the UI, of course, is a few games have been added or updated. Sonic the Hedgehog has shown up, and
my version.
Yeah, we got the
1991, baby.
Yeah, it's an old one. It's an oldie but a goodie. And,
it's my first video game. Like my very first console that had my name on it was the Genesis, and the first game that came out of the box with it was Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was my jam.
Cool. That was a breakthrough game, as in no game had ever been so fast before then.
Yeah. And of course, Santa mode updated. So if you've been using that over the Christmas holidays, Santa got a new sleigh, a different graphic, a different look to it, and I think the addition of elves as pedestrians. have been added to the package.
Nice.
So cars are reindeers and elves are pedestrians. So that was a change that we had noticed as well. When we were out looking at Christmas lights, great to have Santa mode on when you're out driving around looking at Christmas lights in the neighborhood.
You can enable that with the voice command "ho ho ho."
That's right. Yep.
So one of the apps they added was TikTok, and there are certain class of employees throughout the nation that are not able to use the app or have it installed anywhere on their home network. I wonder what this does to them. It's in their car now.
Yeah, I can't use it. It's not available in Canada for whatever reason. Similar to how Disney Plus doesn't work in Canada, it only works in the United States. But yeah, there's a few of those things that are different. And another option that happened with this update for me, again being Canadian, is I got the update to the app that I could view alerts, video alerts of the car. So if the Sentry mode gets off, I can get alerted and view the video.
2018 Tesla.
Yep, 2018. They just don't like you, Casey. That's the only explanation I can think of.
They want you to buy a 2022 Tesla. That's what.
But if I do that, then I won't buy a Cybertruck. Well, I would be irresponsible to do that, to get two.
That doesn't mean you wouldn't buy it.
It does, because I gotta eat. Gotta have a place to plug that thing in.
Yeah, so all sorts of cool things. A recent YouTuber had come up with 53 changes, and we put that link in the notes if you want to go through them all. There's more to see and discover. Feel free to do so when you want.
I don't know if this is the update or FSD beta 10.8. The wipers are now sane.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have had some craziness in the deep rain net.
Right. I had a little sprinkle last night, and it didn't just think I was in a hurricane. And it behaved very much like it does when FSD decides to wash your window because it's calling you slovenly. And it
although I had a hurricane wiper incident just yesterday. So
okay, so maybe it's just 10.8.
Who knows? Who knows? But again, that's another thing, is that button for the wipers. That is, that's great. Even though it wasn't there in the swipe screen, we used to get to the wipers through the swipe screen. Now you can just press the button, and then the menu comes up immediately on the screen if you want to adjust further. So
yep. And if you have a new car, one that Tesla actually likes, not one that they're supporting because there's like millions of you, but a new one like a Model S or X refresh, you hit that button and then you can use your scroll wheel to pick anywhere from auto to 1, 2, or 3.
That is nice. That is nice. Absolutely.
Then you don't even have to go to the screen.
Hope that comes down. Hopes that comes down to the X or the 3s and the Ys for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so I found that my car will countermand me on 10.6.1 and 10.8. If I have the blinker on, like clicked, it'll still blink the other blink if it wants to, and any number of physical controls, it's got it. Even though I've done the switch another way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. There's a ton to take a look at, and I haven't even gone through all of it. I've seen some people sitting in their car, it looks like for days, reporting on stuff, and it's like, who's doing that, man? You got a life to live too, right? But it's lots of cool things you can discover, and I'm certainly looking into those. Very interested to see as those custom light shows come out and people sharing them and being able to download them and load them into your car. It's going to be pretty cool. So look forward to that.
I do it for the subs and likes.
With that, Patrick has got a new story that relates to his hat, if you can't tell.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so if you can see that, it says Cybertruck on there. It's
you can kind of
dark
see
thread on the dark hat. There was an option for a lighter hat, but I like this one better. So yeah, nice little solstice present here. So speaking of Cybertruck, there is a new Tesla design patent that hints at folding rear seats for more utility and fun, is the title of this article from Teslarati.
Camping mode?
And what's that?
Camping mode?
Yeah. So if you can fold down the rear seat, then you might be able to get even into the, what do they call it? The vault.
Yes, the vault.
Perhaps. And then have that tonneau cover, the vault cover closed. You could have people love to camp in their Teslas. There's even a camp mode for the HVAC system. So
Finally.
yeah, this
We
design
used to have to
pattern.
manually do it, put it in park, neutral, whatever, and now there's a button.
Yeah, you would. I think being in park is a good idea for camping. I'm just gonna say.
But you used to have to put it in neutral, then set the park brake manually, and so having a button is so much safer. Because if you forgot and you're asleep, and then the car starts to roll.
Oh
yeah, you don't want to be in
trouble.
neutral. Yeah. That just sounds like a crazy workaround that luckily we don't need anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So this design patent, the cool thing about a design patent, it's not like a utility patent where that can cover a concept and there could be a lot of different implementations. A design patent has to be very specific. So this is probably going to be very close to the final design for the Cybertruck, which makes sense. It's supposed to be going into production next year, right? So they certainly would have it down pretty close to the final. And I was looking at the inventors that are named on it, and there's one name I recognize. Franz von Holhausen is on there.
I know that guy.
Yeah, I've heard of him before. And so yeah, if you're a Tesla fan, you might have heard that name. He's the guy that broke the window on the through the ball and cracked the Cybertruck. That
His
was him,
claim to
hitting it with
fame
the
is busting
sledgehammer.
windows.
So for me, he's that guy who followed George Blankenship at the auto show, and I had the uncomfortable angle of looking up at these two guys from the first row.
I hope they had clean nostrils because Casey could see. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So
if there is a way into the vault, that would also maybe allow the truck to actually hold some 4x8 plywood if the wall actually folds down.
The vault is already big enough to do that, but
not with the tailgate closed.
Really?
It's 6.5 feet.
Oh, okay. He must have changed it after we discussed it on the crowdsourcing.
There was a suggestion to Elon about allowing the wall to kind of fold down like
avalanche midgate. Yeah.
That allowed pushing into maybe the floor of the back seat. So there was that suggestion, and Elon at the time had indicated good idea.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Hopefully this is that.
But this could be part of that. So we'll have to see.
The only question then is, if you do the midgate thing, will that affect the whether it's closed or not? But I guess if the vault is still closed and you fold the midgate down, then it's still closed.
Yeah. So again, not sure if that's the case, but it has been talked about, and of course, this patent is at least the seat folding flat and having the utility of that extra space.
I didn't realize that, Cycle Gamer. That's even cooler.
Yeah. So with that, Casey's got an update on the NHTSA and what they think of gaming.
They think you shouldn't be able to do it while you're rolling down the road. I agree.
I'm going to agree with that one. Yeah, just a little bit.
I agree. The issue I have right now is that it was okay for the longest time to click, I'm not driving. And it's still okay on other platforms like GPSs and phones that are doing GPS functions where they know that you're moving and they're like, hey, you shouldn't be using this while you move. You can just say, I'm not driving. And hopefully it's because it's your passenger that's pushing it, or you're the passenger in somebody else's car. That was Tesla's argument is that they're passengers. I'm a passenger. And so yes, people will lie and those people suck. But what was the problem for some of these like non-flashy games like Solitaire or now Sudoku? But it's probably safer not to have any games going, and so now they're looking into it.
Although those same people that would have lied are the same people who are going to pull out their phone and do other stupid things.
Yes, I see so many Tesla drivers in this area just on the phone, and non-Tesla drivers too. But
you certainly can't prevent that. Regardless, although I'd like to say, is there a solution? I think that having no games when the car is mobile is the solution for now. Maybe with the S and the X, the refresh with the screen in the back, maybe they'll allow that screen to work.
Right.
But
if any games even run on that, I think that's just video.
It kind of sucks for the passenger, especially if you're on a long trip. The passenger could do something. That kind of sucks. But it's you get that many people that are having the car, someone's going to ruin it for everybody.
Right.
This is exactly what's happened here.
I remember when I went to one of the auto shows where Mercedes was showing a screen that was polarized in two directions. So the passenger could see a full-on movie or game or whatever, and then the driver only saw navigation and oil temperature or whatever.
I was going to say they
cool
have
concept.
to ask the passenger, how fast am I going?
No, they were both looking at the same screen, and they saw two completely different images.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Although, then if you're wearing polarized sunglasses, you might not be able to see your screen.
well, that's always been an issue. Yeah, so this I think this is the better solution for now. But in addition to like that, like Mark was saying, the cars that are not legacy cars, they have cameras above the mirror, and they can see you looking at the phone. And right now they're only using it for FSD beta and a couple of other some non-FSD beta uses where they'll say, "Hey, stop looking at your phone. You need to pay attention." But mostly it's the beta crew. If it looks like a phone or it looks like you're not paying attention. So maybe this is the solution for the NHTSA, and if they see the driver interacting with the game, then they cut it off, and if they see the passenger, they just let it go.
Right, yeah. Distracted driving, whether or not you have it in FSD, and the car detecting that, warning you about it, telling you to stop it, that's a cool safety feature that I hope they implement.
On my way back from Thanksgiving, I saw a Model X with a tablet, suction cup to the windshield underneath the mirror, and they were watching a movie.
Whoa.
And yeah, that was not cool. I did look, and they were in autopilot, but again, that's not what it's for.
Again, that's just ruining it for all of us.
Right.
Like that exact behavior is what causes accidents and what causes regulation to be put down on Tesla because people are behaving inappropriately with the technology.
Right. And then after that guy, I saw a Honda that did not have any sort of like the bump steer when you hit the edges of the lane. It had none of the smart steer stuff. It just had ABS. This guy had a large phone in between the mirror and the steering wheel, the driver's mirror and the steering wheel. And that was even more scary because at least with the FSD, I knew it wasn't going to let it bump into me. But this guy, he had no sort of backup. Not that either guy was right, but one was much scarier than the other.
Yeah, they're both scary because, as we know, it can do the worst possible thing at the worst possible
Mine
moment.
tries to jump off bridges.
Right. So yeah, you have to.
This morning, there was a dump truck in the way of where the car wanted to be. The car was being polite because it's too timid, and then it gets closer and closer to where the car wants to be. The car speeds up, and then it cuts off the dump truck. No signal.
Whoa.
Just whoop, and they did it so fast that it didn't like the way it changed its own lane. So it's wobbling like this, not similar to the way it jerks back when it doesn't like the lane change it did. But it was just trying to center itself. It just wobbled in the lane. I've got it on video. And oh man, that was at least signal. But then please don't cut off dump trucks. Large vehicles like you're questioning.
Right. Physics does not favor the smaller vehicle in that.
Yeah.
And Anders indicated that in Sweden, it's forbidden to use a mobile phone if you're driving. Well, guess what, Anders? In North America, it's forbidden as well. People just do it. That's the problem.
Right.
It is against the law in both countries, or both Europe and North America. But people continue to do it here in North America. The fines are getting up there in severity as well, but people still do it.
Yeah. I do like the ability to play in the back seat, and I think that should be unaffected. I think what they're concerned with is the front seat, and then maybe if it's a matter of sounds coming out, then they'll need to hurry up and get the Bluetooth update for the new cars so that the rear seat sounds don't come to the front. Speaking
of update, Patrick's got our next story about some legacy Model S's and what's happening with them.
Legacy.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Speaking of legacy vehicles, here's one. 2015. That's going back to a
That's
time
legacy.
when they were not making 1 million vehicles a year. So
they rolled the serial numbers over from year to year back then. They didn't restart them every year.
Right. Yes. Okay. So Tesla vehicles have been connected cars. Everything after the Roadster.
I think even the Roadster to some degree.
Really? I did not know that. I did not know.
Maybe not over the cell network, but it had some stuff.
Okay. So certainly with the Model S, there's a lot of features that depend on this. Your navigation, the summons mode, even if it's just forward and backward. And if you happen to have one of these 2015 Model S's, then is using AT&T's 3G network, which is being sunset. That is going away. And I went through this with my Leaf. It had the 2G network, and there was an upgrade. And the upgrade, I was thinking, oh, okay, they're going to upgrade to 4G. No, the upgrade was from 2G to 3G, even though 4G was the standard and 5G was coming at this time. So that was kind of like just stupid. Well,
Yes.
Tesla's not making that. They're going to an LTE. 4G is going to be around for a long time, and it's $200, and you schedule service, and you get upgraded, and then you'll be able to maintain all of these services. Otherwise, you would only have them when you're on Wi-Fi, and certainly some of the features are not going to work. You're not going to have Wi-Fi when you're out on the road. You would still be able to get software updates when you're at home on Wi-Fi or wherever in service. But to really experience the full benefits of a connected car, you have to have the cellular network. So it's rolling out $200 US, 245 Canadian. And I think this has actually been offered for a while, but now
I think the price might have dropped, though.
Oh, really? Yeah, cool.
I think it was around 400 last I looked into it.
Okay. So yeah,
but both of those include labor. So basically, the technician is going to pull your MCU screen. Then he's going to take off he or she's going to take off the cellular daughter board and then replace it with the LTE chip. Right. I had a friend who did that on their Model S.
Right. Yeah, I don't think there were any X's that came out with the 3G. I think they came,
right, because my S came with LTE, and his was a few months older, but his had the 3G. So it was, you could still get it with AP1, but I don't think any Model X's came out with it.
Right. Yep.
So those alerts are hitting the screens of some people, and if you're one of those people, let us know what the change was like. Let us know in the comments, or send us a note through our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, or through our Facebook page, the Tesla Life #1, and let us know how it goes.
Also, because Tesla shares so many parts, if you have a Powerwall that's connected over 3G, you're getting the same message because it's the same modem. They're telling you, only instead of telling you, hey, get a technician to open your Powerwall and put in a new modem, they're telling you need to connect to Wi-Fi now. So
right, yeah. I actually got that message, and then about 2 hours later, got another message saying, "Oh, sorry, we sent that accidentally
to everyone instead of just people."
I'm already on Wi-Fi, so I'm not connected by 3G, regardless of what modem's in there. So yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Got the oops message.
Yep.
And it's better to tell everybody than to tell nobody.
Right. Yes.
And speaking of connections, Casey's got our next story about a Model X that has become Uber connected.
Uber connections. Let's take a look.
Connections.
Mark's got a picture for us.
This, of course, is an X, and we'll share the picture here.
So we were looking at a Prius a couple months ago, and we were complaining and laughing at the guy and wondering how they thought it was okay and why they didn't get a more severe lashing from the constable. But now we've got somebody who did a much more sensible install on a Model X. Take a look at this. Doesn't that look cleaner?
Yes,
like, that's overbuilt. It looks like
blocking the windshield like the
right.
The Prius. He had it mounted on
the hood in the driver's view.
On the yeah.
and then told the policeman. He said, the policeman asked him, "Hey, doesn't this block your view?" He said, "Oh, only when I'm turning." Was it left or right?
Yeah. And I preserved only turning right from now on. Yeah. Oh man,
yeah.
Crazy!
This is much better idea.
This is dual StarLink though. Look at the roof. Beside that TV. Yeah.
It's got two Dishy McFlat faces.
Yeah. What's the new one called? Same thing? The flat one? Yeah. The square one?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a different name. I know there's a different shape, but I don't know if they called it
Dishy McRectangle face.
Dishy McFlat face V2. But here's something I wanted to bring up on the Starlink. We know that the Starlink is expanding rapidly. We're over 1,500 satellites now in the air. There are, I think, we're going at least another 1,000 are going up.
Wow.
And of course, then they'll be on a rotating schedule as they fall out of orbit and more are put up to replace them. But question for you guys, what do you think is the next big thing for Starlink when they have a complete internet service that covers the Earth? Do you think that there's something else on the horizon for Tesla communications?
Yeah, they're gonna do laser links. They're gonna shrink the dishes, the receivers, and they will also do interplanetary. They're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna architect it, but they're gonna connect Earth and Mars via Starlink.
Okay, but something that's more Earth-based.
Okay, so my guess is that they are going to start offering telephone service.
Bingo.
Yes.
Possibly. It'd have to get really small and really good on power, because the circular one was drawing 100 watts, and that's a lot of battery to carry around.
Right, but even if it's just at your house, right? So now,
at your house, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so if they start offering IP telephony where you have a dish and then you have I don't know whether it's a SIM card or how it would work, so that you can then connect to their network through your phone and make calls. The way you would with any data.
They're also going to, for cell sites, the ones that are just too expensive to site and deal with, they're just going to put a dish up and call it a day.
Oh,
out in the middle of Farmville.
Right. So you have a dish on top, and then you're spewing out 4 or 5G in that area. Yeah. So you have whatever router or bridge you need to convert that, and now you're providing phone service to a region that didn't have it, and that would be very difficult to wire up.
So they're going to have competition as customers.
So this obviously it's not been announced, but I have seen different stories out there about a Tesla phone, which is not official at all. It's just talk at this point. But definitely, I can see that once they have a Wi-Fi network that covers the Earth, this becomes a sat phone dream for anybody that's out on the seas, in the Arctic, in rural populated areas. They would be able to pick up a signal anywhere on Earth and call out and connect. Not just calling, but you've got the internet at your fingertips. So why not have the ability to VoIP and do phone calls of some sort under the Tesla banner? Tesla could charge a little bit more for it, add on to the revenue stream for Starlink. I see this as something that just makes sense.
They could also do GPS. I mean, not that we need it here on Earth, but if they do GPS and it works, they could also then do GPS on Mars or wherever, the moon, Luna. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd bring that up. That's something that is kind of interesting. That it could be, and of course, with the advancement of these satellites, they're going to get better and better. They're going to be lower power. They're going to have the ability to do new things. They may be able to penetrate buildings a little bit better as time goes along. So all this stuff, I believe, they'll start to get better with. Because, of course, the current cell networks, some of them have problems with buildings. And what they've done is they've set up repeaters inside of buildings to pick up the signal and connect to the network. So it's kind of interesting that this might be where they're going. I could certainly see it being a nice add-on to basically a telecommunications package they already have.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope I can buy some SpaceX stock.
SpaceX stock, yeah.
Well, didn't Elon promise us that that at least Starlink would be available once it's stable? He would let us public buy into it.
It would make sense for them to spin it out as its own IPO. Sure. Who knows when that'll happen, though? Yeah.
Even if it's like an Alphabet Google sub style.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, was this yours as well, Patrick? Because of Giga Texas with the Model Y showing up.
Oh,
Texas, baby.
Yeah, I can talk about that one. So I didn't prepare for it.
Sorry about that. To spring it on you.
That's all right. So we had a little surprise. As you know, the drone army is always buzzing around Giga Texas. And they spotted something cool. A Tesla Model Y body has arrived as Giga Texas hinting at structural battery pack production. So this Model Y body that's arrived, I don't know if you've got the photo you can share.
I
there.
do. It's up.
Okay, yeah. So there's no, you'll see that you can see the pallet right through the top. There's no floor in there.
Yeah.
And so the speculation is that is where you could fit in a structural battery pack. And that would be the new and improved way they're going to make these vehicles. So Tesla is doing things that no other automaker's done, even though they've only been in the business for a decade and a half or so, while others have been doing it for 100 years. They're casting, and they're changing the way that batteries are a structural part of the vehicle. 4680 cells. We've seen all kinds of innovations from them. And whenever you're building a new factory, like they are in Germany and Texas, that's your chance to say, okay, here's the lessons we've learned from the last place. Let's do it better and make some improvements in the next place. And this is their attempt at that, and they are trying to get things going there. We've heard about some vehicles being produced in Germany now that they are using to proof out the system and you do crash tests and other things with. So it's pretty cool. 2022 is going to be a very exciting year for Tesla as these two factories start their ramp up and so many other things. I'm actually really excited for next year about all the cool things we'll be seeing. Casey's got a belt buckle. Look at that.
And speaking of that, Patrick and my bet about Tesla Berlin and Tesla Texas, nobody's won yet. So here we are at the end of the year, last show of the year, and neither of the factories are operational yet. I'm kind of disappointed a little bit. I thought for sure that at least one of them would have limited production in 2021, but that is not going to be the case. So again, Casey is victorious with Giga Shanghai, the undisputed champion of speed when setting up a factory. But hopefully it'll be early 2022 and we can start to report on production at Giga Texas or Berlin.
But when we started this, it was no sure bet, and it only got closer and closer. Now they're neck and neck, despite the fact that Giga Berlin had a months-long head start over over Terra Texas, Giga Austin.
So, and I understand the last thing about Giga Berlin is that the bureaucracy has slowed it down again. So they were hoping for a meeting to happen before the end of the year for some approvals, and that meeting got delayed. So it will not happen until the first week of January.
Your meetings are very effective, Patrick.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah. Patrick is certainly effective, but
right. Ants, bats, we're all trying to slow down, right?
The government itself.
Cardboard forest protectors, yes.
Sabotage. Let me just set the cardboard forest on fire so you can't damage the cardboard forest.
Right. So I will be very disappointed if we don't see at least 1,000 vehicles out of both places by the end of Q1 2022.
Yeah, I agree with what Breakneck Trent is saying about StarLink will IPO after consistent revenue stream, unless he changes his mind. But that's what he promised us.
Right, but public companies are a pain in the butt compared to all the reporting issues and SEC and yada yada. You might
only need 3 positions. They could all be the same person.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And next, Fremont gets some upgrades for the Model 3 and the Model Y. So we saw this, of course, over at Casey's favorite place, Giga Shanghai. And they updated the Model 3 and Y over there to include a lithium battery. For the
lithium 12-volt battery. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also updated the car to take the new Ryzen chip. So
you too can have a legacy car and be salty.
If you expect Tesla's pace of innovation to slow down, you are looking at the wrong. If you think I've got mine, now they're just going to stop. They'll never make anything better than this. Think again, buddy. Think again.
Well, that's why I was smugly smiling when I was looking at the people with the plaids saying, "Oh yeah, well, blah blah blah." I'm like, just wait till the Cybertruck comes out, Bo.
Yes, pace of
So yeah,
innovation is what
good to
matters.
see that those changes are coming to the North American market, and they're starting to be implemented or have been implemented at Fremont. So
Yeah.
looking forward, all vehicles pumping out of there, Ys and 3s will have that installed, and hopefully the double pane back glass will appear as well. But there's a few things that Shanghai updated, and it seems to be Shanghai is the testing ground. They put something new in, they make sure it works fine, and then they roll it out to Fremont. And it'll be interesting to see that once Austin and Berlin are up, does that trend continue? Is it always going to start in Shanghai? Kind of makes sense if they're doing it now, and then push it out to the other 3 factories.
I think we'll see each thing get started in a different place depending on where their supply lines are coming from.
Oh yeah, and just who creates the innovation, right? So Tesla has its dynamic system where if you think you've got an improvement, you can go and try it out. And the vehicle production lines, the cars all have so many built-in self-tests that every vehicle gets these tests. You can try something, and if it doesn't work, you can rework it, and then if you figure it out at whatever site you're at, that's where it's going to start. And then once the kinks are all ironed out, then it can flow to the other spots. So this is even better. That now you've got innovation happening in multiple sites with more crews. So the pace of innovation should even increase more as these new spots come online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that if there is any difference in capabilities, that they allow us yet another MCU upgrade. So you've got cars that ship to MCU 1 that have MCU 2. And we already know that you can replace the MCUs on Model 3 because the MCU got replaced just to get the FSD computer because they're kind of together. And then we've already seen that you can upgrade the FSD computer. So if they can bring those along, that'd be awesome. I'd even pay for a new dashboard with the vertical screen or the horizontal screen.
Yeah, you're asking for a lot.
Yeah, that's really
that part they probably won't do, but they could upgrade the computers. So they've done it before. The only thing slowing them down now is that means dedicating a person or team to making sure that it gets done correctly.
I'm sure they will offer that, Casey, as a do-it-yourself dash screen update. Just they ship it to your house, and you can figure it out with like instruction pad with 3 different instructions. You're good to go.
Yeah, everything clips together.
Like IKEA instructions. You get the whole thing, and you get an Allen key.
Right, and you get a T-shirt that says "I void warranties."
Next story. Again, this is innovation again happening. The Tesla app, which of course comes with every Tesla vehicle, you can have an app. They've now given you the ability to add drivers through the app itself. So you can set up a new driver profile through the app and make it available for the car to use. So again, this could be again looking at the start of the Hertz thing. Maybe it could be a number of different things that this is rolled into. But that's a plus for the ability for the app to interact with the car and add a driver.
Okay, so I've only heard the when I was looking into it, I only heard the first part of that. The car access has come through. It's come a long way over the last 18 years. Yeah. So you used to have have the right employee who knew what was going on at the call center to actually go through and make you a separate account for your other person. And then eventually they let you do it on the website if you go to the special place, and then you give them the email address, and then it was good to go. And then now you can do it from the app.
Yep.
But as Mark was saying, apparently you can also do their driver profile, not just their Tesla app being allowed to start your car.
Well, I mean, the profile then becomes active as soon as you create the driver. So you'd still have to.
So it's still the same.
Type in the properties and then save it to that new profile.
Okay, but that'd be really cool though. At this point, then if somebody's already offered this person access to their car and they get in yours. And it moves the seat, it does the mirrors. That's the cloud profile.
Elon has said the cloud-based, storage of a driver's particulars probably is coming. So it's something that, and of course, that rolls nicely into the Hertz thing because a number of people that are going to be renting Teslas will own a Tesla at home already, and this will be a way for them just to log into their rental, and it'll grab their cloud profile, their seat setting, and whatever else, and just automatically upload it into the car.
Same for
And now,
Turo hosts. If you have some folks
Mhm.
coming in from out of town
Yep.
and you're in a place that Hertz doesn't service with the Model 3, or they need something bigger like your Model X, then you can give them access to start your car and deal with everything without having to give them your stuff. You don't have to give them your phone. Because originally that's what they were doing for the Model 3s, is they were giving them, like they would just buy a separate phone with the Tesla login and just give them that phone. And that's not the way to go.
right, you don't want someone to have your Tesla login. They're going to go buy accessories and tires and have them shipped to their house.
Yes.
Could be an issue. Absolutely. Yeah. Till you get the bill, everything's fine.
Right.
But,
Yeah. So this is really cool because, like you were saying, all those custom settings, especially now that you can change what menus you even have available. Do you want Spotify or Slacker or TikTok or Netflix or all these logins that you could have? If all those are part of your profile and someone gives you access to the car and you just download your profile to it, and then all of a sudden all your accounts are there available when you get in, as well as your seat and mirror settings and whether or not you like one strip of bacon or two in your seat warmer.
I've tried veggie
Absolutely.
bacon. Veggie bacon works.
Smart bacon. Yep.
So in addition to that, look at supercharging, paid supercharging. So now you don't have to worry about if you're a Turo host, or you don't have to worry about Hertz having to have a whole separate system where they bill you back for the supercharging. It already knows who you were. They already know your credit card. They just charge you for the supercharging, and then you keep on rolling. You don't have to worry about surprise charges. Like say the intern hits it in 3 times, and now you get charged 3 times for a really bad supercharging session.
Right.
Yeah.
This is cool.
That could be annoying.
It's all collected and available to access to speed up that process. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think we'll wrap it up for this week. We want to thank all the viewers out there for joining us all this past year. It's been wonderful to be on the air and to talk Tesla with all of you for that period of time. We look forward to doing it in 2022. And we hope that all of you have a happy new year and safe new year that's coming up shortly in a few days. And we will see you next year in 2022. And with that, Casey, what do you got cooking on your channel?
So I just finally finished my Tesla destination charger review over at Palmer House Inn. I've been promising this for a while, and I actually tried to shoot it about 3 different times, and then I finally got it done over Thanksgiving, and then this was supposed to come out for Christmas, and I was a little bit slow. But you may look at it and say, well, 30 minutes to review a supercharger. What I did was I interviewed the host, and then at the end, there's a nice set of musical performances as well. So that's
cool.
at youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREEN. And on the 2nd, the day after New Year, we will be chatting, just very similar to this, and I hope to catch some of you there.
Very good. Certainly, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up at this point. Subscribe if you haven't done already. It helps us out immensely and supports the channel. Patrick, what do you got going on?
Hey, everybody out there, I want to know what you think is going to happen in 2022 for Tesla. So if you've got some predictions, throw them down there in the comments, and we'll go through them, and maybe we can talk about some of them in the next show if there's some that are exciting. And I'm also curious about what your Q1 production in Texas and Berlin. How many vehicles do you think they'll crank out by the end of Q1? So yeah, throw those guesses down there. And at this point, it is a wild guess.
I say personally, for both of them, we're going to see a small handful in Q1. The question for me is going to be how bad, awesome is it going to be in Q2 for both of them? I think they'll both be pretty near full speed by then.
It takes a while to ramp
of course,
up. You think only a handful? That's low. Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
And I think next week we'll talk a little bit about our past bet on production for the end of the year. So those numbers should be in as the year ends, and we'll be able to talk about what we spoke about a year ago and where we think those production numbers, how they match up to our guesses.
Cool.
Don't forget to go back and play it so you can write down our exact numbers. You can.
Oh, I'm not playing it. No, if somebody wants to go back and watch it, they can do it. But
please do that. Go
I'm
back
trying
and
to
watch
spread-
it and put it in the comments on here or tweet at the Tesla Life because I would love to see an actual comparison versus what we thought versus what we got.
Yeah, Mark's got it written down. So yeah, we're good. I remember, Casey, you wanted to wait a few months. You were like, I'm not going to guess right now. I got to wait and see. Yeah, you took the smart
I was seeing where they were
route.
guiding, and I think that they're going to guide well.
Right? Yeah,
we shall
will
see. We shall see. Well, with that, everyone, have yourselves a great evening. Join us next week, and we will find out together what's happening in the Tesla life.
Thank you, Lee Moon, for this music.
Thank you, sir.
Stay positive. Test negative.
Enjoy yourself a future free from fossil fuels.
Oh,
Yeah.
Casey stuck it in.
Yes. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.